Let me rope in Jayant Krishna, who is a senior fellow, the Center of Strategic and International Studies. I'm also being joined at this point by Jagvinder Singh Veer, who is a chairman of the India-Australia Strategic Alliance. Let me bring in Jayant Krishna first. Now, as we heard Congress leaders talk about Dr. Singh as a Chanakya of sorts when it comes to politics, his style of leadership as well. Do you think the same applied to his politics when it came to international diplomacy and the way that he strengthened India-US ties during his tenure, sir?
Yeah, absolutely. If you look at the 2005 nuclear deal, was the crowning glory for Dr. Manmohan Singh, and his personal rapport and the comfort level the President George Bush had with Dr. Manmohan Singh, is legendary. It not only ended India's nuclear apartheid, but also created a very favorable geopolitical configuration in favor of India. Obviously. And what people don't realize that it was not just a civil nuclear deal, but it paved way for a huge amount of collaboration between the US and India in areas like critical technologies, high technology, defense collaboration, and so on and so forth. President Bush knew very well that India's nuclear energy requirement is only for civil purposes, and it always believed in the nuclear non-proliferation. So I think, and if you look at the trade, if you convert that in terms of economy, the trade between US and India, which was just a few $1 billion at that point of time, is now in excess of $200 billion, and is India is perhaps the only country with which where the trade between India and US, India has a surplus in its favor, which means India exports more to the US than what it imports from the US, so which is a very, very favorable situation. So I think, I have so much of respect for the man, in terms of his intellect, in terms of his integrity, his humility, and his reforms. Earlier, as the finance minister, what he did, those were the most transformative reforms ever undertaken in the history of independent India in the last 77 years, not just for the economy, but all sectors put together, and which has changed the course of our economy for all times to come. Before the reforms, we used to grow at what we used to call as the Gandhian growth rate. And post in the last 33 years, if you look at, we have grown at, an average rate close to almost 7%, And so I think a lot India owes to its economy today, to how Dr. Manmohan Singh led the liberalization, led the reforms. And also, his diplomatic skills are not usually talked about. But amazing, the kind of collaboration, the kind of rapport building that he had with the major countries, and including the US, is remarkable. And I would rate his contribution in independent India as second to none, with the only exception of Nehru, which because he was there in the formative years of our economy. So it's commendable, and the country would always remember him with huge amount of gratitude, and respect for all times to come.
Right, stay on with us, Dr. Jagvinder Singh Veer. Now, in terms of his bridging the divide between the global world and India, he did do a lot of work, Dr. Singh, in that matter as well. In terms of ensuring that India was at par with international standards when it came to education, manufacturing as well was one of the major things that he did, apart from his economic expertise, of course, sir.
Yeah, first of all, my condolences to the family and to all India, especially came from Australia, for this condolences for Dr. Manmohan Singh. Any building foundation depends upon how much long the building goes. But if you see Dr. Manmohan Singh, if you see India's growth right now in the world, everyone talking about India, the foundation is laid by Dr. Manmohan Singh. And that's when we were young, and that's the best example of Dr. Manmohan Singh in politics, how to be honest in politics and how to live your life in politics, and without a single black dot on his shirt. That's the best example of any politician in the history of India. And I must say, some people said in the past as well, accidental prime minister, this thing, that thing, but I don't. And today, if I see, if every eye is crying, every eye has a water, in it because of Manmohan Singh. The person yesterday I visited his house, Mr. Naveen Jindal. Everyone is talking about him. That's the best thing what Dr. Manmohan Singh did. And across worldwide politics, if you see when President Obama said, when Dr. Manmohan Singh speaks, world listens. That is one of the best statement any leader has given in the US. And yesterday I spoke with Peter Dutton, our opposition leader in Australia, and he also has high regards for him. I don't know any leader in the world who don't have a high regards for Dr. Manmohan Singh, and that's the best thing what we have as Indians. For last 20 years I'm staying in Australia. The respect what we got overseas, Dr. Manmohan Singh played a significant role, and now Prime Minister Modi is taking that role forward and taking the India forward. But the foundation is laid by Dr. Manmohan Singh, and in Hindi we say Sardar bhi hai aur Asardar bhi hai. So that's what we can see right now. The people who speaks sometimes, when person doesn't speak on the camera and we think he's not doing anything, but sometimes it shows he has done a remarkable job. I'm listening to another panelist, the things what he's done in nuclear deal, the information about, I was listening to Mr. Jindal's interview yesterday about RTI things. There are a lot of things, the respect of women, what he has in his mind. I think that's a remarkable thing for a leader, and any youth leader who wants to be in politics. I think he has to follow those footsteps as an economist. No, I don't have any words. The things what he have achieved coming from Pakistan at 12 years of age, and for 10 years, for 12 years where he stayed, there's no electricity in his house. He came from that humble background, and once upon a time when he was studying in Cambridge, he didn't have 20 pounds and to pay his fees and all the things. But see, from that level he made sure he will struggle. I think it's the best example of struggle what we have, what we seen in Dr. Manmohan Singh today.
Jayant Krishna, before I come to you, let me quickly tell our viewers about the visuals that we're bringing in at this point. The funeral convoy there of Dr. Manmohan Singh, where his mortal remains are being taken to Nigambodh Ghat. We can also see Rahul Gandhi in the convoy as well, along with the mortal remains there. Let me bring in Jayant Krishna. Sir, now in terms of relationships that Dr. Manmohan Singh cultivated with leaders, like Barack Obama or George Bush, do you think that also played an important role in ensuring that India has good bilateral ties with the West?
Oh, absolutely. By any reckoning, I mean, the ties that he had with George Bush, with President Obama, with the German Chancellor, with the UK's Prime Minister, I think that paved, a way for the kind of bilateral ties we have, the kind of bilateral trade we have, the kind of FDIs that we get into India today. I think it's amazing, and FDI as a percentage of GDP actually peaked during Dr. Manmohan Singh's prime ministership. So I think I remember before joining the government, I was with the Tata Group, and when our international clients used to come to India, or we used to go abroad to meet them, and very often these people, many of them would say that what an amazing country you are. You have one of the best economists the world has seen as your prime minister, and one of the best scientists all over the world, as your president. What they meant was Dr. APJ Kalam when these people were there at the same point of time in history.
Right.
So I think it was a very different era, and look at Dr. Manmohan Singh, how he was, his complete career was based on merit and nothing else. Look at the role in the kind of roles he got: the principal economic advisor, the vice chairman, planning commission, the chairman of UGC, the finance secretary, RBI governor, finance minister, and subsequently the prime minister. All this happened by virtue of his merit. He didn't know anybody. He there was nobody to recommend him. He didn't have a huge political base. He was not even a politician. But today we criticize about the lateral entry into government. But I see a lot of merit into it if it is done the right way. And if there was no lateral entry, somebody of the capability and intellect of Dr. Manmohan Singh would never have come in public life in the country. So I think it's an amazing thing. And I personally had a few interactions with him during the when he was reforming India's skills landscape, at the later part of his UPA 1 and a lot of it in the UPA 2. and and how seamlessly the National Skills Qualification Framework was ratified by the Union Cabinet. The Apprenticeship Act reforms were all finalized. Of course, the act was passed when Prime Minister Modi came, but all the formative work was done in Dr. Manmohan Singh's regime. The National Skill Development Corporation as a public-private partnership to deliver schemes on a large scale happened. The Sector Skill Councils came. So this man was all about transformation, about reforms, And let me tell you, people who think that he was a mild-mannered person, soft person, I have no hesitation to say on this channel that behind his soft exterior there was a no-nonsense and a very, very strong interior. He was very resolute in the things that he believed in, be it the economic reforms, be it the nuclear deal, be it the right to education, a right to information. I remember when right to information was getting passed in the parliament, he said, we are giving you one big stick to beat us with. But this is a kind of law whose time has come, and it has my full support. Right to information, right to education, Manrega, Aadhaar, land acquisition bill. So I think the list is long. All his life, this man for reforms, and India wouldn't have been what it is today if Dr. Manmohan Singh was not the finance minister in '91, supported by the then Prime Minister Narasimha Rao, and later as the finance minister, as the prime minister of the country from 2004 till 2014, and especially during the UPA one. Laura, look at 2008. When the world was seeing such a bad economic situation. Dr. Singh's strategy could keep India largely isolated. From the negatives of the economic crisis of 2008. Right. So I think. The list is long. I have so much of respect for this man. I can't even, I don't have words to describe it fully,
Absolutely. Stay on with us, Mr. Krishna and Dr. Work. Let me quickly bring in my colleague Shreya, who's joining us from the Nigambodh Ghat. Shreya, now we are getting in visuals of the funeral convoy heading towards Nigambodh Ghat. We are seeing the top leaders that are accompanying the convoy as well. Rahul Gandhi can be seen sitting in the convoy. Take us through the preparations there right outside Nigambodh Ghat as the last rites are about to take place in just another half an hour.
Well, of course, we can see, the VIP senior leaders coming in. We just spoke to Delhi Congress Chief Devendra Yadav, and you can see the preparations are in full swing, and soon we will be bearing Dr. Singh's mortal remains flanked by military personnel here at the Nigambodh Ghat very soon. And we know for a fact that a large number of military, paramilitary forces have been deployed. Security has been beefed up, and very soon we will be seeing the funeral procession. And I'm also joined by a foreign dignitary writer. So please introduce yourself and please tell me your memory of Dr. Manmohan Singh.
See, I am here today to be part. I am the Charge of Affairs of Palestine Embassy. I am based here in Delhi since 2014.
How will you remember Dr. Manmohan?
I will tell you. It is not personal member, it's Palestinian member. Today I am coming here to be part of his funeral by the name of the President of Palestine, Mahmoud Abbas, His Excellency. And we send an official condolence letter to the Prime Minister of India, remembering the effort of Mr. Manmohan Singh. And also we present our condolence to the President of Congress Party. He has a long journey, valuable journey to support Palestinian cause in politician things and in finance things. When he's a Prime Minister, he's 2008, he's given us land in Chenekaburi to money to support and to make this valuable place to Palestinian in Chenekaburi. Then he, former Prime Minister with the President of Palestine together, they are in September 2012. So we have long time of relationship with him as an Indian politician.
Have you ever personally met him?
No, I have never met him, but most of our leaders has met him. And first meeting is in 1992 when the leaders of PLO, Yasser Arafat, coming to Delhi, when the Prime Minister Narasimha Rao, he's union.
that just goes on to show the magnanimous global stature of Dr. Manmohan Singh, his contribution to not only the country but also worldwide. Here the situation is getting chaotic, as we can see the security getting tightened up. We will soon see the gun carriage draped in the national flag bearing Dr. Manmohan Singh's mortal remains arriving here as we bid him goodbye. The final journey from here to heavenly abodes, and soon we will see Prime Minister Narendra Modi, Defence Minister Rajnath Singh, President Draupadi Murmu, along with other leaders arriving here. And of course, we can see that everybody is here. They are mourning the profound loss of the modern, the maker of modern India's economy, and the man who definitely steered India into its 21st century, who brought about not only economic, political reforms but also social reforms. The nation might bid him goodbye for the final time, but his legacy remains, his political, social legacy remains. The kind of initiatives that he brought about, including the RTI, RT, Manrega, Aadhaar, these different initiatives that revolutionized India once and for all. These are his legacy for people to remember. And of course, his life in itself has been incredibly inspiring. If one reads his daughter's biography, his daughter's book, a biography on Dr. Manmohan Singh and his wife, it's called Strictly Personal. It shows how a struggle-filled life he's led, but he rose through the ranks through his determination and grit. A person who saw the ravages of partition and then went on to become a leading statesman, a man who brought about so many changes in a conflict-filled country like India. That just goes on to show the politician that he was, a man who was never elected as a prime minister but appointed for 2 continuous terms from 2004 to 2014. Right now we are awaiting his mortal remains. Here you can see people entering, foreign dignitaries and visitors entering Nigambodh Ghat to pay to Dr. Singh, India's 14th Prime Minister, a man of quiet dignity, a technocrat, an economist turned politician. He was also a professor at the Delhi School of Economics, and I have my friends there who are also continuously, conducting a mourning period there. They are paying their condolences to Dr. Manmohan Singh. We saw leaders across party lines pouring their heartfelt condolences to the family. He was 92 years of age. He was going through.
Right.
Now
Shreya, there at the Nigambodh Ghat, where remember the mortal remains of Dr. Singh are just going to reach in a couple of minutes, perhaps. Visuals that are coming in, of course, are of the convoy, the funeral convoy of Dr. Singh, with top leaders are accompanying as well. Dignitaries have already reached Nigambodh Ghat, is what we're learning as far as the ground situation is concerned. I'm being joined by Dr. Vark, who's still with us. Sir, now, do you think that the economic background of Dr. Singh had influenced greatly the way that he dealt with his international diplomacy?
Best example I just saw on your screen, Singapore country, they also bowed down they put the flag down,
right,
half the thing, and Mr. Biden said he's a true statesman. So I think that's the best examples. Every leader of the world and they understand the value of India and what Dr. Manmohan Singh did for India as in 2008 when all the global crisis happening. So that's that all the world leaders, including our former Prime Minister Tony Abbott. I spoke to him this morning. He is also economist from Oxford, and he sometimes tells me when he became Prime Minister of the country, the 13, he also listened those speeches of Manmohan Singh and a lot of things. What they, when world leaders listening to Indian leaders, it is not a small thing. Please understand. I live in Australia for last 20 years. The big statements. So that's what Manmohan Singh was the only, if I may say, if the only Prime Minister of India independence after 1947 who is very well respected as a person, as an economist, as a politician, or as a statesman, he was very widely respected worldwide. And that's what we also feel respect the same way when our NREs who live in Australia, Canada, US. And my prayers and my condolences from every NRI who is countries like Australia, Canada, US, and various all countries, and our condolences. And we feel proud. We feel so proud. Dr. Manmohan Singh is a Indian former Indian Prime Minister, and is a great, and we feel proud in that. And the people who are following his footsteps, people like Geeta Gopinath, who is chief economist at IMF.
देखिए, चिट्ठी लिखने का स्थिति आनी नहीं चाहिए थी। बिना चिट्ठी लिखे हुए ही केंद्र सरकार खुद को आगे आकर के फैसला करना चाहिए था। हम सर सम्मान इनका स्मारक यहाँ बनेगा, दाह संस्कार होगा, जैसे वाजपेयी जी का कैसे हुआ है, वो तो उनकी पार्टी के नेता थे। ये 10 साल मुख्य प्रधानमंत्री रहे हैं अभी तो।
जी बिल्कुल।
और इनका जीवन देखिए ना, जो इनका व्यक्तित्व कर्तृत्व है वो निराला है, देश में निराला है, लीक से हटके हैं। वो जिंदगी जीना 50-60 साल तक पब्लिक के लिए, वो अपना की बड़ी मिसाल है, बेमिसाल है।
अशोक गहलोत जी, बीजेपी कह रही है कि कांग्रेस राजनीति कर रही है और जमीन देने की बात और स्मारक की बात तो पहले ही हो चुकी है।
ये तो झूठ बोलते हैं, ये तो हमारी शिकायत उनसे है। आपने गलती की तो गलती स्वीकार कर लो। पहले हम नहीं सोच पाए हैं, हम आपकी भावना का आदर करते हैं, आपकी मांग है हम उसको मंजूर करते हैं, तो ज्यादा उनका इज्जत मान सम्मान बढ़ता बीजेपी का।
आप लोग कहाँ चाहते हैं स्मारक बने?
वो तो उनकी सरकार प्रपोज तो करती, परिवार उनको कहता भी हम चाहते हैं यहाँ हो तो अच्छा रहेगा। फैसला करना गवर्नमेंट को होता है, कलम उनकी चलती है।